as you probably know, Nintendo had their E3 Direct on Tuesday, and they had so many great announcements and a lot of big surprises as well. So, I'm going to go over all of the big announcements that were at Nintendo's E3 Direct. So the first announcement we got was the next DLC fighter for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And I'm probably going to butcher the name here, but Kazuya from the Tekken series is the fighter. Tekken is a fighting game, which I'm not very familiar with, but I'm excited to see it have representation in Smash. Basically, the trailer starts off with him throwing the other Smash fighters off of a ledge, and the trailer is honestly pretty cool. And then it cuts to some gameplay, and then finally it shows him throwing Kirby off the edge. But of course Kirby is overpowered and he survives. So that's that announcement. Not really much else to say there. Honestly, not really all that excited about it, but I know there will be people who are. So congrats to you. Next up we had the Life is Strange Remastered Collection and Life is Strange True Colors coming to Nintendo Switch. Now, I'm pretty sure these were already announced at some point beforehand, but I'm not quite sure because I'm not very familiar with this series either. So, if that's a big deal, then congratulations. I hope all of you enjoy the games if you're going to get them, and on to the next announcement. Now, next up we have just a few snippets of some games coming to Nintendo Switch. First off, we have Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy, which was previously announced for PlayStation and Xbox consoles, but now it's coming to Nintendo Switch as a cloud-based game, meaning your Switch doesn't actually have to run it, because a Switch could never run graphics that high, but a device far away is running it and sending that game to your Switch. It's a cool concept, but you need a very good Wi-Fi connection for it, so I'm hesitantly optimistic about it, but I feel like there are definitely going to be a lot of problems. Next up, we have Worms Rumble. I am 100% unfamiliar with the Worms franchise, and I had never heard of it before this Direct, but apparently it's turning that into a battle royale, as far as I can tell, so that's that. I honestly don't know anything really about the game other than what was shown in this trailer, and that really wasn't a whole lot, as far as I can tell, so I guess we'll move on to the next announcement. Next up, we have a snippet of a little turn-based RPG called Astria Ascending. Now, I'm not very much a big fan of the genre of RPGs, however, I know a lot of people are, so if this is a big deal, then please tell me in the comments. I honestly know nothing about what RPGs are a big deal and what aren't. But, moving on to the next announcement, we have 2 Point Campus. 2 Point Campus was previously announced at the Xbox and Bethesda showcase a couple days before the Nintendo Direct, but essentially you build your own school and you customize the classes and what everyone learns, and basically you decide if you want to make your school fun or not, and really it's just you can build whatever you want in your school. I'm pretty sure there's almost nothing you can't do. So that seems like an incredibly fun game, and moving on to the next announcement, we have Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. It's basically the first 2 Monkey Ball games combined with Super Monkey Ball Deluxe. These are from the GameCube, PS2, and original Xbox era, and this is for the series' 20th anniversary. I've personally never played the Monkey Ball games because they don't really interest me all that much, but I know that they are considered to be very good games by many, so the fact that it's coming to Nintendo Switch and these original games are being remastered can be nothing but good. Next up, we have Mario Party Superstars. Mario Party Superstars pretty much takes boards and minigames from past Mario Party games and puts them into a new Mario Party. This goes back all the way to the N64 era of the boards that will be included, and I think this will be the return to form that Super Mario Party promised and didn't deliver on. Plus, it has online play, so I guess that's why they rolled out the update for Super Mario Party for online play. They must have just been testing it out. So, with that mystery solved, let's move on to the next announcement. This is probably the biggest announcement out of the entire Direct. Metroid 5, aka Metroid Dread. To put it into context, Metroid Fusion, aka Metroid 4, came out in 2002, And since then, we haven't had a single new 2D Metroid. Sure, we had Samus Returns on the 3DS, but that was actually a remake of Metroid 2, The Return of Samus, for the original Game Boy. And the name of the game itself, Metroid Dread, that name has been revealed ever since 2005, where it was scheduled to be released for the Nintendo DS in a Nintendo magazine, even though it hadn't been announced yet. Then in 2007, in Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, a hidden message was in the game saying, Metroid Project Dread is nearing completion. And since then, fans have been waiting up until this moment for Metroid 5, Metroid Dread to be revealed. In reality, the reason it took so long for Metroid Dread to be completed is because it was actually shut down 2 times and they had to restart from scratch both of those times, because the technology while they were developing it then wasn't really up to snuff for what they wanted the game to be. But the Metroid Dread that we're getting later this year is still based 100% off of the original vision of Metroid Dread from 2005. Now, in the past, 2D Metroid blended platforming, puzzle solving, and elements of shooter games seamlessly. But Metroid 5, as the name implies, will add another element into the mix: dread. This game capitalizes on fear, making you wonder what's going to be around each corner, if you're going to be jump scared, if you're going to run into one of the Emmy robots, which are those robots that you see in the trailer that seem to be unstoppable. This seems like it will be a wonderful game that will keep you on your toes, and I cannot wait for it to come out. Next up, we have Just Dance 2022, which was previously announced at Ubisoft Forward. And then next up, we have Cruisin' Blast, which is another entry in the Cruisin' series, which rarely comes to consoles. The Cruisin' series of games are actually arcade games, and they're those things that you see in arcades where you sit down in the seat and you actually use the steering wheel and pedals to drive. And those are actually made by Nintendo. And now Cruisin' Blast, an all-new one, is coming to Nintendo Switch. This seems like it'll be a very fun game, and it's basically if you took a realistic racing game and then put all the crazy events and stuff that happens in a Mario Kart game and put them both together. It seems like it'll be just crazy fun and probably just crazy in general. So, now on to the next game. Next up, we have Dragon Ball Z Kakarot and a new Power Awakens set, which was previously announced and has already come to other consoles, but now it's coming to Switch. I've never played a Dragon Ball Z game, and I'm honestly not really a fan of the genre of game, so this doesn't really interest me that much, and I feel like it's not that big of an announcement because it's already come to other consoles. But at least it's now coming to Switch, which of course can only really be a good thing. Now we get another look at Mario Golf Super Rush. Almost every single shot in this trailer has been previously shown to us through other trailers, but it does show us a new shot of a New Donk City golf course, as well as saying that more DLC courses and characters will come after release. So at least we know that what we're getting at release will be expanded upon even further afterwards. Then we get Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin. Again, just like Dragon Ball Z, I'm not very much into this series, and I know very little about it. I honestly don't even know if this was announced in the Direct or if it was announced before that. All I know is it was in the Direct, and I know a lot of people love these games, and that they are actually extremely popular. So, I assume that this is a big deal, it coming to Switch, or just being announced. So, moving on to the next game, we have WarioWare Get It Together. This is the first new WarioWare since WarioWare Smooth Moves on the Wii. Sure, we have WarioWare Gold on the Nintendo 3DS, but that was really a WarioWare Greatest Hits. And Game & Wario on the Wii U was more of a spin-off, if anything. But finally, we have a new WarioWare on Nintendo Switch, and it supports co-op gameplay, which, as Mr. Koizumi said, will greatly expand the gameplay. For those of you who don't know, WarioWare games basically consist of tons of micro games, which are kind of just like 10-second little bite-sized games where you have to figure out what to do and do it as fast as you can. And This WarioWare game includes tons of wacky micro games, and now you can play as multiple different characters that all control differently in the micro games, which will really mix it up a lot. I, for one, cannot wait for WarioWare Get It Together to come out, and it seems like it will be a great single-player or co-op experience. Also, the game is $49.99, $10 less than your typical Switch game. So, that's one more reason to get WarioWare Get It Together when it launches September this year. Next up, we get a look at Shin Megami Tensei 5. Now, I know pretty much nothing about this series, but I do know that when the Switch first came out, we were told this game was in development, and I'm pretty sure this is our first actual look at it. So, I think this is a pretty big announcement, and hopefully all you Shin Megami Tensei fans out there are just going crazy about this and having a great time speculating. But honestly, I know pretty much nothing about the series, so I can't really say much about this announcement. But next up we have a collection of the Danganronpa games, which, as far as I can tell, are basically games where you're in a school and the headmaster is an evil teddy bear who apparently is trapping you there, and the only way to escape is to kill your classmates. I think it's a collection of 4 of the games. I'm not quite sure, but apparently this is a big deal. In all honesty, I think the games, based on just what I've seen and heard of them, are just kind of weird, but you know, I'm sure that they have fun moments in them, and if you're a fan of these games, then I hope you enjoy playing them. But on to the next announcement, we have Fatal Frame Maiden of Black Water, which is another horror game, but I'm actually interested to see how this actually is played on Switch, because I remember this was a game on Wii U that used the gamepad a lot, so how they're going to transfer all those controls onto Switch is interesting food for thought. I honestly don't know much about this game at all, only that it was widely acclaimed on the Wii U, and it never actually got a US physical release. So this is the first time it's going to have a physical edition in the United States. So that seems like it's big news. So for those of you who know more about this game than I do, which is probably most of you, then congratulations. I honestly think that this is a very big deal for this game to be released in the US, because I know it was widely acclaimed, but I honestly am not all that interested in it, just because I'm not really a fan of the horror genre. But next up, we have an expansion for Doom Eternal on Nintendo Switch. Now, I have never really played a Doom game, but I know the franchise goes back into the 90s, so this is a very big franchise for it to still be alive today. And the fact that it's getting an expansion pass obviously is big news. So, for those of you who are Doom fans, which I know are a lot of you, I really hope you enjoy this expansion pass, and I hope that you have lots of fun with it. Next up, we have a remake of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, which were games from the GameCube era. These look like they'll be a lot of fun to play, and I've heard that the original games are amazing, so I can't wait for these ones to come to Nintendo Switch. Next up, we have Strange Brigade. Strange Brigade is basically the combination between an adventure game, a co-op game, I think. I know there are multiple players you can choose, but I'm actually not sure if it supports 2-player, but there are multiple players you can choose, and it combines all that with a shooter game. It seems like a really innovative idea, and it looks like it has a pretty fun story. It launched on the day the Direct came out, so if you're interested in this game, you can pick it up right now on the Nintendo eShop. Next up, we have Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. This is a sequel to the game Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which was a strategy game starring Mario and Ubisoft's Rabbids characters. This game was previously announced at the Ubisoft Forward a couple days before the Nintendo Direct, and it looks like it will be lots of fun. This game seems to take a lot of influence from Mario Galaxy. Now there's a Rabbid Rosalina and Rabbid Lumas, as well as they're going into outer space for this adventure instead of just going around the Mushroom Kingdom. I recently just got the original game Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle on the Nintendo eShop because right now it's only $9.99, along with many other titles that are on sale right now on the Nintendo eShop. So if you're looking for a great deal on some games, the Nintendo eShop has a sale that's going through the 21st of this month. So you're going to want to get those deals quickly if you're interested in any of the titles that are on sale. This game is expanding upon the original by getting rid of the turn-based combat and allowing you to move freely around the battlefield. Now you can move around and attack enemies within a certain area. So this should greatly expand the combat as well as the amount of options you have during battles. Overall, this game seems like it will be lots of fun, and I can't wait until it comes out next year. Next, we have Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, which is a remake of the original Advance Wars and Advance Wars 2 for the Game Boy Advance. In these games, you command your armies of tanks and infantry soldiers and concoct strategies on how to defeat the opposing force. This seems like a fun turn-based title, and they've modernized it without losing the charm of the original games. The rest of the Direct is a segment based entirely on things focusing on The Legend of Zelda. So, first off, we get a new look at the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity expansion pass. It appears that you'll be able to play as a Guardian now, and Link will have a new weapon that's a bit like a double-sided whip made of energy. And this is only the first wave of the expansion pass, with multiple others still on the way. Next, we get another look at The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. Basically, they kind of tell us what the main premise of the story is, and when it takes place in the Zelda timeline. Though since we already knew this from when it came out on the Wii, I think we should probably just move on, since there isn't really any new information here. Next, we get a look at The Legend of Zelda Game & Watch, which includes The Legend of Zelda, The Legend of Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link, the Game Boy version of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, and the Game & Watch title Vermin, starring Link, instead of Mr. Game & Watch. This is very similar to the Mario Game & Watch, which had Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2 The Lost Levels, and the Game & Watch game Ball starring Mario. And this time, instead of just a clock you can watch to see the time, now you can actually play through the clock in the style of The Legend of Zelda, and there's a timer that you can play through in the style of The Legend of Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link. Next, we see another look at the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And we get to see once again that this game will definitely have a darker tone than the original. I could do an entire video speculating about this game and analyzing every little bit of the trailer, but to sum it up, this looks like it will be a really fun game, and they're aiming for a 2022 release date. What we've seen of this game so far looks like so much fun. They're reusing the world of the previous game, but now there will be floating islands all throughout the sky, so you can explore the sky somewhat like in Skyward Sword, and I assume that the holes left by the pieces of the world floating upwards could possibly allow you to go underground into caverns, as we see that Link is fighting some sort of monster in a cave that looks to be underground. Whatever all of this means, I cannot wait for the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild to come out, and that was the last announcement in the Nintendo Direct. We got so much news, and I can't wait for a lot of these games to come out. Metroid Dread, Mario Party Superstars, WarioWare Get It Together, and the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. All of these games are on the horizon, and I cannot wait to be able to play them. Thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, please press the like button and subscribe, and please follow me on Twitter and Twitch for more gaming news and streams. With that out of the way, I hope you all enjoyed this E3 Nintendo Direct, and I'm Jacob with the Game Block, signing off.